We're about to witness the collapse of Bitcoin, the currency they told us could offer a safer, more secure option for trading. It was the libertarians' dream to kindle something that operated beyond governments, beyond institutions. But this week, one of the biggest banks in the world labelled Bitcoin a fraud which would eventually blow up. Harsh words, but it's the actions of China that may now seal its fate. Today, Chinese authorities announced they will close all Bitcoin exchanges by the end of this month. The currency took a massive tumble as speculators thought they could be witnessing the beginning of the end. So will Bitcoin recover from this? Can cryptocurrencies still prove to the world they'll revolutionise and democratise trading? Or are they, along with tulip mania and the dot-coms of the 1990s, an unsustainable economic bubble? Here's David Grossman.
Bitcoin has many fans, but the head of JP Morgan, Jamie Dimon, isn't one. It's worse than tulip bulbs, he said. It won't end well. Someone is going to get killed. He's referring, of course, to the 17th century tulip mania that caused some bulbs to cost more than houses, before, of course, the bubble burst.
It is perhaps unsurprising that someone who runs a conventional bank doesn't much like something that's been set up specifically to get round the conventional banking system. Indeed, one of the reasons for the phenomenal rise of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies is that more and more people have less and less trust in the financial system.
Stock markets have fallen here and around the world.
The financial crisis of a decade ago convinced many that the whole system was in fact rigged. The negative real interest rates that followed were actually a dishonest way for governments to boost treasury coffers and reduce debt by, in effect, taxing savers.
While people are looking to preserving value, they're also on a hunt for some sort of return. You're not getting it from putting your money in a bank. So that's why we've seen, rapid increases over the last 10 years in, stocks and other assets. So the fact that I think Bitcoin has just caught the public's imagination like nothing else. So the increase in that has been huge. The numbers are massive and are terrifying in some ways. But it has been a function. This isn't just happening in the cryptocurrency world. This has happened in lots of asset classes.
The essence of a cryptocurrency like Bitcoin is that central banks have no control over it. Its supply is capped, so no one can just print money. And a record of who owns what is spread across the entire community of users. Part of that community is Miriam Karanja. She's a law student in London. Her brother in Kenya finds Bitcoin an easy way to send her money without having to use a bank. She can, with a bit of fuss, turn it into pounds at this ATM machine.
Does it worry you that the currency seems to go up and down so quickly?
Yeah, it's a bit worrying. Like, I have to keep checking the price, and I have alerts, and I have buy orders at certain prices and that type of thing. And in the past week, the price has really gone down, so it's a bit worrying.
Do you lose sleep over it?
Well, the thing is, I trade at a very minuscule level, so the loss I have isn't so huge where I'd get depressed about it. But I know there are people who lose a lot of sleep and get very stressed out.
Bitcoin and the technology behind it has spawned dozens of similar cryptocurrencies, and now a new trend, the ICO, or initial coin offering. It's an increasingly popular way to raise capital for a new venture. Instead of issuing shares, you issue a new currency.
Is this simply a way for fraudsters to get the money of gullible people?
No, this isn't necessarily a way for that to happen, although we are seeing huge amounts of investment money raised from what you would probably call unsophisticated investors, and on the back of what may be a fairly undeveloped product. So in some cases, it's probably easy money to raise from an investment point of view, but I wouldn't necessarily say that each of them is a scam.
But amongst them, there may be some fraudulent products.
I would say so, yes. I would imagine so, yes.
China was this month the first authority to ban ICOs. Other regulators are looking nervously at them, issuing ever stronger warnings for investors to beware.
This is the third stage of a bubble, the mania phase, where people are investing on the basis that other investors will buy from them, and not because it's some sort of solid opportunity. There are a few ICOs where people have tried to do things properly in an orderly manner, but quite a lot of them, they're just saying, we're going to run off some magic beans, buy some and you can sell them to someone else. And that's the entire offer.
The value of Bitcoin has risen exponentially, up 600% this year alone, but back down 30% in recent weeks. A similar shape then to the price of tulip bulbs 380 years ago. But that graph, of course, went back to almost zero.
David Grossman there. Well, Malcolm Pally is the chairman and co-founder of Coincilium, which invests in blockchain startups. It was the world's first blockchain technology company to float on the stock market. And Dan McCrum from the Financial Times is here. He's a little bit more sceptical about the promise of cryptocurrencies. So is Bitcoin a profound financial innovation or an easy route to, let's call it, funny money? Malcolm, I'm going to start with you. How much damage do you think that Jamie Dimon's words did when he called it a fraud, or is it the actions of China that have really spooked people today?
I think it's a combination of both, probably. This market is, with these cryptocurrencies, is susceptible to emotion, more so than any other market because it trades 24/7. And effectively, anything you'd say that can spook the market does, anything
That's
you say.
not good, is it? It's not good if it's even more susceptible to emotion than all the other markets that are already.
Is it good? I don't know. My disclaimer is that I invest in the technology. This is all a big distraction for me and for our company because everyone's focusing on the price of Bitcoin and the price of the cryptocurrencies. They're going up, going down, or they're going broke. When in reality, what we're seeing is the most phenomenal revolution in technology which has been brought about, and it's underlying these.
And you don't fear for that now?
I don't fear for the technology at all, no. I think that anyone who gets involved in speculating...
But how do you use the technology if the currency is completely...
Well, it's the other way around. The technology is what drives the currency. It happens to work like money.
Do you agree with that, Dan? Are we concentrating on the wrong thing here? I mean, if we see the end of Bitcoin, is that just the beginning of something else?
No, I think I'm a bit of a sceptic on the technology as well. But you talked about emotion, and the emotion that really is driving Bitcoin and all of this technology investment in these silly tokens, these ICOs, is hope. This idea that somehow this technology is going to deliver all these wonderful, promised good things. And I think what people are starting to see now with China shutting down some of the exchanges, and I think what we will eventually see, as with all bubbles, is that, you know, those hope is going to turn to dust. This bubble will pop.
You heard that phrase. When they were described as unsophisticated investors, what does that say to you? Does it mean people who don't have to go through the big institutions, who don't have to be robbed blind by, you know, rates that banks are charging, or does it mean gullible people?
I think it means gullible people in a sense.
So you agree with that, do you?
With what?
With the people that are buying into these things are more gullible investors.
If you would have put... I can't completely recall the figures right now, but if you would have put a few pence into Bitcoin at the very beginning, you would have made a multiple of your money, and no one was even bothering about it then. Right now, if people are chasing it now, then yes, of course, I think they're gullible. I say that with the proviso that providing they don't know what they're doing, they're gullible. If they know what they're doing, then fine.
Is this the dot-com bubble of, you know, the early 90s? Is this just about to go?
I mean, this could be the time that it goes completely bust. As Jamie Dimon, sort of head of JP Morgan, said this week, you can't really predict whether it could jump up and double again. That's the nature of bubbles. But you can be fairly certain that at some point it will go pop. And this looks like it. I mean,
what happens if it pops then? I mean,
probably the same as what happened with the internet. A lot of the speculation goes out of it, and the survivors like the Amazons, the eBays, and all the genuine opportunities are actually allowed to develop in a way that's outside of that speculation.
I mean, tell us what scale we're talking about. Do a lot of regular people...
I think we're at risk of overstating the importance of this.
Right.
I mean, the hype of Bitcoin is totally disproportionate to its size. If you add up all the Bitcoins, and if you could sell them for dollars, which I don't think you could, it would be worth about $60 billion. Now, that's quite a lot of money to come from nothing, from a bit of computer code. But really, it's one moderate-sized listed company. If it disappeared, I don't think the world would really notice. OK, so let's just assume, though, that what we're talking about now is not whether Bitcoin comes or goes, but whether this technology, this innovation about a currency that can circumnavigate institutions and governments still has a future. Do you think it does? It's more than just a currency. It happens to act like money, so therefore it's treated like money. But the blockchain technology that underlies that has some tremendous applications. Like? Well, I mean, one example, a professional social network, which is on a distributed basis. People are tokenizing assets. There's a lot of...
we could have a Newsnight Bitcoin, a Newsnight coin.
If you want to do, yes. I mean, getting into the coins and the token side is, I think it's too early to have that debate.
You hear this a lot. I don't think there is any real working example of something in the real world being used on a regular basis attached to this blockchain technology.
A little bit early in the day.
What you can do is you can create currency out of nothing, because that's ephemeral. It's just the software. But the bit which all the banks are throwing money at, which you're seeing lots of businesses like yours, is sort of on this promise that one day they can sort out all of the problems. But there are some big inherent contradictions in this.
So Dan, a quick thought then. Do you think Malcolm will be the one laughing? You know, that he will be the one that puts his money where his mouth is, and actually he will, you know, people that support this technology in 10 years' time will be the ones on top of the market?
No, I think the thing to realise about the currency is this big contradiction. It's somehow going to make you loads of money because the price is going to go up and up and up, but at the same time, everyone is going to use it as something to buy and sell on a daily basis.
So it will never actually catch on amongst the general public?
But it won't catch on.
No, we're looking at the... everyone's worried about what's going on with this highly emotive state, but regulation is the next thing that's going to come. These markets, or certainly the technology and the applications, and those who are doing token offers, are going to be regulated. They're going to be, ICOs are going to be treated like IPOs.
Then it's the end of what Bitcoin's meant to be, isn't it? Or
well,
any
Bitcoin will be a part of that ecosystem, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's the end of it.
Thank you both very much indeed.
Thanks
for coming in. Well,